Good night, good night. Probably gonna do 2 videos tonight, depending on how long this one is on the drive home. Y'all know I always do these things while I drive, or most of the times while I drive. So, heading home from work tonight. Oh, please, this car don't hit me. Alright, cool. But recently, I had this idea for a little while. I got sick right before this whole coronavirus thing hit. Still kind of getting over it, so that's probably about 2 weeks ago. But it made me think about just MGTOW in general. Like, usually we have maybe family members, your spouse, children even, that could possibly take care of you, especially if your children are worth anything. But, somebody that can possibly take care of you while you're sick, like not just having time off and things like that. But it just made me think how this environment allows things like MGTOW and, of course, feminism, or even like, not even feminism. Well, yeah, not just feminism, but like the independent woman and things like that. But then it also, on the male side, it allows for men to not have all these different structures in place, or these different support structures in place to support them going to work for long periods of time, or going to work for long periods of time, being able to be strong enough to do that, and then when they are not strong enough to do that, to be able to make sure that they feel well again, or feel well enough to even go to work. So a lot of the medicines that are out, like for instance, even things like small things like cough drops. So you have your cough drops, and even your cough medicine, your NyQuil, DayQuil, things like that. You have these medicines that kind of dope you, if you will, and dumb down the symptoms or suppress the symptoms of you actually being sick. So that way you can actually go to work and it be somewhat bearable, or you can actually stand up and things like that. So it's like, okay, we have all these things in place that allow us to be better sheep, slave, whatever you want to call yourself, or whatever you think of yourself as, warriors or alphas, betas, whatever the hell. It allows us to keep on doing these things. But it's like, okay, what if we don't have some of these things in place? What if you've gotten so sick one night and then you don't have cough medicine? Your parents or your family isn't there. You don't have a significant other or someone you can call and say, hey, yo, listen, babe, can you get me something real quick? So on and so forth. And I'm thinking more and more about this because, as I've said in previous videos, I want to move out into the sticks pretty much, like Wayne's, I think it's like Waynestown or Waynesboro, Georgia. Get like, say, 20 to 100 acres of land and then just live off of that and chill. But I can't go too far north. I don't do too well in the cold. But I can't go too far north because guess what? You do that out in some place like New York and you don't have a proper road system. You don't have somebody that's shoveling your driveway, or if your driveway is too long, especially if you have a large piece of property, like, how are you going to get out? How are you going to deal with these things? So, there's ways you can prepare for it, but sometimes that's not always in a sense possible, or you can't do that, or you get caught out, and next like for instance myself, I'm sorry I'm jumping all over the place here, but it's just coming out. But for myself, I was at work one day. My manager on Monday night, we were putting some wireless access points up and configuring them, and everything seemed fine. And he was like, or I seemed fine and everything like that, and he was fine enough. And he just had like a little sniffles or something like that. But then he said he went home and it just knocked him out. Next day he had a headache and all types of other stuff, right? So then that was Monday. Tuesday we had an issue with a service provider. Wednesday we still had that issue with the service provider. And by Wednesday night I was like feeling tired because I had like worked out. Like I had walked and I didn't have much rest. So I walked 4 miles, went to sleep for like 2 or 3 hours, woke up at 6, walked another 2 miles, then went to work, and then did that whole shift for the day. So I was like really tired afterward, and I was like, you know what? My boss, he was feeling bad. Let me go ahead and take some NyQuil or something like that. I took some NyQuil. 3 hours, I woke up about 3-4 hours later, I was feeling like absolute crap. Absolute crap. I'm talking, I was out for the count. I had never been hit by something that damn hard ever in my life. That was crazy. And I thought to myself, and I was like, what if I didn't have like my mom, my aunt, my father, my brother, or anybody else like that around that I can at least call in the general area? How is this gonna work as I get older? How is this gonna work as I'm thinking about things like MGTOW and saying, hey, listen, I'm just gonna get women for sex and things like that. I don't totally want that. I would say there's still some blue pill in me in a lot of ways, because I do believe in a relationship. I do believe in, let me get off this. I do believe in a relationship. I do believe in having kids and things like that. I just don't trust somebody enough to like make that happen for myself right now. And, you know, I won't say that won't change later on or anything like that, but it's a bit of, and sometimes scary, just thinking about how that can go, in a sense, wrong, but not everything's perfect, so sometimes you have to take the good with the bad. But I look at it and I'm like, okay, as a MGTOW, how can I actually put myself in the right position to say, if anything goes wrong, shit hits the fan, I have the mop, the strength, the energy, and everything to actually go ahead and clean all that up. And that made me start to get more in line with talking about investments and talking to people like Dollar Will more about investments, and, you know, taking some of his advice via consultation, and looking more into things like Roth IRAs, not just your 401ks, which one is better, how can I actually design a better Roth IRA for myself, why do companies give you that 3 to 6% match on your Roth IRA and things like that. So I'm looking more into these things, and I'm saying to myself, like, hey, you know, I got to put myself in a better position here, because I could end up sick one night or one day and then just not even be able to function the next day. You know, like it happened, and luckily I had people around me that could help me, that could, you know, go and get me orange juice, go and get me actually my prescription. Like, what if I couldn't do that and it's a bad day outside, it's a blizzard or something like that? You know, yes, you want to prepare yourself, and I prepare myself with in terms of investments and other things, but I can't say I totally prepare myself for that. I have, like, you know, NyQuil, DayQuil in the fridge, but, you know, it was pretty bad. You know, so it's just like, what are we doing as MGTOWs to actually prepare ourselves? And I know some of us are out there, you know, or even people like, you know, into the SYSBM community. What are we all doing to prepare ourselves for that possible long stretch of being alone? Being somebody that is, you know, only using women for sex or short, you know, flings, things like that. I'm thinking about these things, and I'd like other people, if people are listening, you know, to comment on these things, because it really troubles me in a sense, because it's like our social contract between men and women, significant others and such, like, you know, or actually no, men and women and family members has really broken down. You know, like it's not like it used to be, where you had that extended family that can help take care of, you know, your children if necessary. You know, like who's gonna be the aunt that takes care of the nephew? Is the aunt even close? A lot of my family members, especially outside of my immediate family, there's not many people in the area that can take care of me. Or sorry, not take care of me, but that would have taken care of me when I was younger, right? That could take care of, say, somebody like well, not my nephew, but when my nephew was younger. He could take care of himself now. He showed me some pictures of him in his army fatigues, which is really cool. I love that. So it's like, you know, if my nephew was younger and he wasn't, you know, 18 in the army, or if I was younger and I didn't have my family members around, you know, like I got family in Canada and I got family in the Caymans, I got family in Jamaica, most of the family's in Jamaica. It's like, what is here? Like, you know, we've spread ourselves out so much that there's not many people around that can actually help us. And I think about that in terms of MGTOW. Like, who could possibly help us? And that's kind of the lonely road that we travel with MGTOW. Thinking about things like even MGTOW monk. Like being a MGTOW monk and saying, hey, listen, you know, you kind of in a sense swear off women, or you don't have that drive in a sense anymore. Maybe you've already gotten your kids, or maybe you have no kids whatsoever. And now you're talking about doing MGTOW monk. That's kind of crazy, you know, like to me at least. I do understand it, but it's kind of crazy that you could be a MGTOW monk, no kids. That means, you know, you're kind of in a sense, you don't need women. And I see MGTOW monk, red pill, and things like that as phases, so you can switch in and out of them. I don't see that where you just permanently MGTOW monk till you die. Like, we're human beings here, you know. If you want to go fuck something, go fuck something. Who gives a fuck? You know, it's not a freaking huge deal. Oh my God, I'm MGTOW monk, but I fucked this big booty stripper. Pussy was on sale. You know, tax cuts and welfare cuts. Pussy's cheap. You think so? So it's a joke, but you know, I think about these things. So another hopefully a video I'll be doing this week is talking about my my beginning of the journey of investing, using M1 Finance, what I invest in, out of like how much I invest out of my paycheck. I mean, I do make more than most. Thankfully, thank God. So I'm able to invest probably about $1,000 a month in various investments between precious metals. I buy silver. I don't buy gold. I just don't have the money to get gold unless I save up, which I could do. Hopefully, I can start buying gold next year. That'd be great. But yeah, so I buy silver, precious metals, or that is my precious metal, cryptocurrencies, and I'm gonna get more into M1 Finance, and then within M1 Finance, I'm going to invest in a Roth IRA, put money away in a Roth IRA, and invest in a passive income portfolio that pays out dividends on a regular basis. I'll share that portfolio. But if you want to see a decent portfolio that I actually really like in terms of the outcome and the results, check out the Joseph Carlson show. Joseph Carlson show. So JOSEPH Carlson CARLSON show. Every week he goes through his actual M1 Finance pie and shows you how much is actually in it, and then he actually also does his Roth IRA as well. He recently revealed that in a sense and showed that off a little bit. So I'm taking direction in a sense from him, scrutinizing his pie. I'm able to copy his pie for myself, and I can go ahead and scrutinize it a little bit too in terms of looking at what's in that pie. There's some things where I don't understand them, so I have to do a little bit more research. The last thing, so silver, cryptocurrencies, M1 Finance, so that's, you know, my different portfolios there that I will be investing in. I haven't done that yet. And finally, just cash. So, and my breakdown of that. So I'm still working out those numbers a little bit. Right now, I have it kind of static with the silver. I buy 5 ounces a month. Cryptocurrencies, I buy $132, $100 towards Bitcoin, $32 towards, $104 towards Bitcoin, $28 towards XRP. That covers the fee. So after that fee, that 100, I have 100 that goes to BTC, and then $24 that goes to XRP. Those have actually done fairly well, and I found some of my old coins, or I actually accessed some of my old coins and transferred into my my Bitcoin, or my account. So I have it all in one folder, so that's or one wallet, which is great. So I can just kind of watch it and invest into that, and just dollar cost average into it. Sometimes you do. I mentioned that, although it's a bit of a vulnerability, but I mentioned that because sometimes you want to consolidate and have everything in one place. I do not always recommend, unless it's like absolutely secure, maybe absolutely secure, but nothing is. But if you feel good about the security in terms of like turning on two-factor authentication and other things like that, using different email addresses besides your default one, that's another thing that's very important. But you usually want to keep these things in a wallet, and then have a backup of that wallet on a USB drive, or even upload it to the cloud, your actual wallet file, and making sure that you have maybe even encrypt it into a zip file. That's a good thing to do. So yeah, 132 in cryptocurrency is probably about $12 in fees. Oh, sorry, $8 in fees that I have to pay to buy those cryptocurrencies. For silver, probably about $2.50 per ounce over spot, or over the actual market value. And that's just kind of what you're paying for silver. I actually get that shipped to me. I buy it off of eBay from this company, I think out in California, Liberty Coin. Probably about $100, $103 per ounce right now, per 5-ounce bar, I should say. It's probably about $18, $18 per ounce right now. And then as far as cash, I do 2.5% of my monthly income into cash. I changed that up. It used to be about 5%. I'm a little bit more conservative on that, or sorry, I'm pushing that a little bit. I'm really low on that, I should say, because I'm using a bulk of my income, my excess income, to pay off some of my debts. But I'm still trying to invest and get that going for myself and get in the habit of doing that, especially while I'm making more money now working the 2 jobs. And as far as M1 Finance, that takes up, I do about, like 35%. I think I do like 7.5% of my monthly income into M1 Finance, or will be going into M1 Finance after my initial. So I have to work out transferring my 401k, rolling that into an IRA, and then should be rolling that into a Roth IRA. Excuse me. And that'll get my my retirement investments going as well. So, I mean, these things I want to talk more about, but this is kind of like, after dealing with being sick since November, I had 2 different freaking flus, which sucked. But this always happens to me. It's not like a immuneness issue or anything like. Well, I guess it is. But really, when a temperature drops, so does my immune system. So I get screwed. But just thinking about this, kind of rambling on at this point. But I'll end this video, and the next video should be more about my investments and how I'm actually working on that and putting that all together, so that I can plan for my retirement and start making some passive income, making my money work for me while I sleep, or while the market's open at least. Anyways, as always, thanks for listening.